So, good afternoon. Europe is once again rallying around a slogan: my voice, my choice. The phrase has returned to the center of European political debate, especially as new initiatives aim to guarantee cross border access to abortion when it is restricted in a woman's home country. In policy language, this is framed as ensuring access to reproductive health care across borders. More candidly, it reflects what has come to be called abortion tourism. The slogan itself is rhetorically powerful. It appeals to dignity, agency, autonomy, even democratic participation. It carries an implicit warning. To question it is to silence someone's voice. And who would want to silence another human being? But slogans are never neutral. They don't just tell us what we believe, they reveal how we understand the human person. And beneath my voice, my choice, lies a deeper vision that deserves careful examination. Let's begin at the roots. The question here is not first political, it's metaphysical. A voice is not self-originating. It presupposes existence, language, and relationship. None of us brings ourselves into being. Each of us receives life before we exercise freedom. Our voice emerges from a body we did not create, within a history we did not design, and in a world whose structure precedes our will. Life is first received and only then expressed. Freedom, in this sense, is not the invention of reality, but a participation in it. Classically, justice meant rendering to each what was due. But that idea assumes something deeper, that there is in fact something already due, something given prior to our choosing. Modern thought has shifted this, subtly but decisively. We have moved from understanding freedom as participation in truth to understanding it as the assertion of the will. Autonomy becomes central. Choice becomes creative rather than responsive. But if the human person is not self-originating, then neither is moral authority. And this leads to a paradox. If moral standing depends on voice, on being heard, recognized, articulated, then what of those who have no voice? The unborn child is not metaphorically silent, but literally voiceless. If rights depend on expression, then the smallest and most vulnerable fall outside the frame entirely. We move, almost without noticing, from rights grounded in being to rights grounded in performance. But justice cannot depend on audibility. If it did, the infant, the disabled, the unconscious would all stand on uncertain ground. Human dignity cannot rise or fall with the ability to speak. At the same time, the emotional force of my voice, my choice is not hard to understand. Many women experience pregnancy not as support, but as isolation. Economic pressure, fragile relationships, cultural expectations, and professional risks often surround motherhood these days. In that context, choice can feel like the only form of control available. And this is not simply a personal failure, it reflects a deeper social one. There was a time when maternity was seen not just as a private burden, but as a shared good. Today, it is often framed in terms of costs, interruption, liability. A society that says it's your choice, while withdrawing real support, is not empowering, it is stepping back. Responsibility becomes privatized, and what looks like autonomy can mask abandonment. There is another shift unfolding as well. Moral questions are increasingly reduced to technical ones. What was once considered a profound ethical dilemma is reframed as an issue of access. If someone is legal and medically available, it begins to appear morally neutral. But legality is not the same as justice. Law depends on a deeper moral framework. And when the connection weakens, law risks becoming an instrument of power rather than a guide to do what is right. At the heart of all this lies a largely forgotten idea that the human nature has meaning, that it is ordered toward ends. If that idea disappears, then the body becomes raw material. Pregnancy becomes intrusion, but if it remains, then pregnancy can be understood, even in its difficulty, as part of a meaningful structure oriented toward life. This doesn't eliminate hardship, it gives it context. And it raises a deeper question beneath the slogan, what is freedom? Is freedom the power to define reality to ourselves, for ourselves? Or is it the capacity to recognize and live in accordance with what is real? If freedom is detached from reality, then choice becomes absolute. But if freedom is participation in truth, then choice must answer to something beyond itself. Slogans simplify, reality does not. My voice, my choice speaks loudly, but beneath it there is also silence. The silence of the unborn, the silence of unsupported mothers, the silence of a culture that has forgotten how to speak in terms of gift, responsibility, and shared meaning. Perhaps the most important question is not what voice will prevail, but whether we will still remember that our voice, in the first place, was never entirely our own. Thank you for your attention.